They insulted you and you reacted. But what if your biggest weakness wasn't them, but your need to respond? You think you're calm until someone disrespects you. That's not stoic peace. That's untested ego. Most men chase control in the world. But the strongest man, he controls nothing except himself. Welcome to StoicCraft, the channel where modern people reclaim power, not by fighting the world, but by mastering their minds. Here, we don't chase motivation. We train resilience. We don't run from discomfort, but we transform it into discipline. Each video is crafted for those who've lived through setbacks, felt the sting, and are now ready to build calm strength, not emotional chaos. What if nothing could shake you? Not words, not betrayal, not even silence. Most men drift through life with emotional tripwires. A careless comment, a late reply, a broken promise, and suddenly they're triggered. They lash out, shut down, or spiral into quiet resentment. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not because life is cruel. It's because they never learned to take command of their own emotional state. The Stoics understood something we've neglected in modern life. True power doesn't come from force. It comes from control. And control begins with a single, immovable realization. You don't have to react. In this video, you're going to learn how to build true stoic composure, how to stop letting people push your buttons, how to preserve your energy like it's sacred, and how to reclaim peace in a world that profits from your outrage. You'll discover why lowering your expectations isn't giving up. It's leveling up. Why silence isn't weakness, it's a calculated decision. And why emotions aren't the problem, it's your impulsive response to them that costs you. If you've ever felt like people misunderstand your calm, or that chaos keeps pulling you off center, you're not alone. But today, that cycle ends. This isn't another motivational hype video. It's a mental reset. So if you're ready to make your peace non-negotiable, stay with me. 1. Make self-control your shield. There's a subtle moment, so quick it's almost invisible, when a man gives away his power. Someone interrupts him. Someone mocks or dismisses him. And what happens? His chest tightens. His voice rises. His calm evaporates. Not because the other person overpowered him, but because he reacted. That's how quickly power is surrendered. With a glare, a snap, a raised voice. And suddenly you're no longer the one in control. The world is. We often mistake explosive reaction for strength. But ask yourself, if anyone can trigger you, how strong are you really? True strength is quiet, stoic, calculated. It's not suppression. It's mastery. It's the trained ability to feel the wave of anger and let it pass without wrecking everything in its path. Because here's the trick. When someone insults you and you erupt, they've won. They've hijacked your state. They've taken the keys to your emotional house. But imagine a different kind of man. He hears the same insult and nothing in his face changes. His breathing stays calm, his focus unmoved. He hasn't buried the feeling, he's outgrown the need to act on it. That's not numbness. That's precision. That's discipline. Because emotional control isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about not becoming a puppet to every feeling that visits you. You've likely lived this before. Stuck in traffic, someone cuts you off, and for the next 30 minutes you're replaying it in your head, tense and irritated. Meanwhile, they're long gone. You paid the emotional tax. They walked away free. A Stoic man? He notices the spike. He breathes. He doesn't obey it. Why? Because he knows the world doesn't owe you perfect order. The only true order is internal. We live in a culture of constant defense. Everyone's ready to clap back, prove their worth, fight every perceived disrespect. But that mindset places your identity in the hands of others. You've made yourself reactive, not sovereign. The way out? The pause. Don't move. Don't speak. Let the wave rise. Then let it fall. That pause is where your strength is forged. It's in that stillness you become untouchable. This doesn't mean ignoring injustice. It means choosing when and how to respond, never letting chaos dictate your character. Let stillness be your instinct. Let calm be your reputation. When that becomes your default, you are no longer reachable by petty chaos. 2. Lower expectations of others' disappointment often hides behind one word: expectation. You're not upset because someone was rude. You're upset because you expected them to be kind. You're not angry because your coworker overlooked your efforts. You're angry because you expected recognition. And in that gap between how things are and how you imagine they should be, your peace dissolves. Expectation is a contract you wrote, but no one else signed. You thought a friend would defend you. A partner would be more understanding. A colleague would meet you halfway, but they didn't, and now you feel betrayed, not because they failed, but because you expected them to be someone they're not. The Stoics never wasted time wishing people were different. Marcus Aurelius began each day reminding himself he'd encounter the selfish, the rude, the ignorant, not because he was pessimistic, but because he was prepared. When you release your grip on what others should be, you stop handing them the remote control to your peace. You stop expecting clarity from chaos. You stop being surprised by noise in the storm. You see things and people for what they are, not what you wish them to be. Imagine this. You walk into a room expecting nothing. No assumptions, no hopes, no entitlement. The waiter might be rude. The driver might cut you off. Your friend might forget your birthday. You accept it all without tension. You're not cynical, you're free, because peace isn't maintained by controlling others. It's sustained by controlling what you attach your peace to. Most men unknowingly tie their inner state to outer behavior. Someone's silence, tension for days. A short text, doubt spirals. But what if? 3. Stop expecting broken people to deliver your peace. What if you could finally untie that inner knot, the one formed from years of hoping others would behave better, speak kinder, understand deeper? What if you stopped expecting the world to deliver your peace wrapped neatly in a bow? And what if you finally accepted that broken people don't magically start acting like whole ones just because you need them to? This is where Stoicism breathes. It doesn't beg reality to be fair. It meets reality on its own terms, unapologetically. It doesn't plead with toxic people to be gentle. It doesn't waste time demanding empathy from those still at war with themselves. Stoicism simply says, meet people where they are, and don't let where they are move you. So what can you do right now? Think of someone who's been disappointing you, a friend, a colleague, a relative. Ask yourself, am I hurt because of what they actually did or because of what I thought they should do? Write it down. Say it aloud. Let that question become your mirror, because once you face it honestly, the truth reveals itself. You weren't betrayed. You were simply assuming too much. Lowering your expectations doesn't to mean becoming cold or cynical. It means becoming clear. It's not the death of hope. It's the birth of understanding. You don't have to stop loving people, but you do have to stop handing them the weapon of your unrealistic hopes and then blaming them for using it. Here's a daily practice worth adopting. Today, I will see others as they are, not as I wish them to be. I will stop begging the rain to be sunshine. I will build a shelter instead. That is Stoic freedom, not freedom from people, but from the emotional burden of needing them to be anything other than what they are. 4. Practice indifference to provocation. Some people don't want peace. They want your reaction. They poke, they prod, they bait. Why? Because your reaction gives them control. The moment you explode, they win, not because they're stronger, but because they dragged you into their storm. That's the tragedy, not the insult itself, not the argument, but the fact that you let them pull you away from your center. They didn't just offend you, they owned you. But Stoic indifference isn't apathy. It isn't pretending you don't care or turning your back on truth. Stoic indifference means this: you decide what's worthy of your energy, and almost nothing is. You choose where your mind rests. You decide who gets access. You protect your attention like it's sacred, because it is. Every time you let a fool provoke you, you abandon your throne to fight in the mud. Think back. That stranger who cut you off. That colleague who condescended. In front of others. That family member who always knows just the right dagger to throw. In each of those moments, you felt the fire rise. You could hear the retort forming. Your jaw tightened. And yet, if you spoke too soon, if you moved too fast, you gave away the very thing you were trying to defend, your power. Now imagine a different ending. Same insult. Same jab. But this time you pause. You feel the heat, but you don't move. You observe, but you don't obey the impulse. You simply decide, not worth it. And then you walk away, not in weakness, but in total command. That's not passivity. That's dominance. If someone tries to hurt you and you do not accept the injury, then they fail. Epictetus pain requires permission. Insults need your cooperation. But when you meet their noise with stillness, you become unreachable, not by hiding, but by rising. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. You still act. You set boundaries, you speak truth, but you don't engage in every petty war. You don't waste breath explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You walk through noise like it's fog. That is Stoic emotional power. That is calm turned into a weapon of clarity. So next time someone tries to provoke, you do this. Pause. 3 seconds. Feel everything. Act on nothing. Ask, do I really want to hand this person my peace? That pause, that tiny moment, is where character is born. It's where you separate yourself from the reactive masses. Train this habit in the small moments. At the checkout line, in traffic, during arguments. Let your silence disturb them. Let your stillness shake the room. Because the man who needs to raise his voice has already lost something. But the man who doesn't blink, he shifts everyone else. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them bait, but protect your energy like it's gold, because in the end it is. When you stop reacting to every spark, you gain something rare. You gain clarity. You gain peace. You gain yourself back. Start today. Find one moment where you'd normally snap and don single quotes T.smile. Breathe. Move forward. That's how a Stoic wins, quietly, completely, without ever playing their game. Point 4. Treat every situation as a character test. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. That flash of irritation, that sudden setback, that conversation that stung, that's not chaos, it's a mirror. Life is showing you exactly who you are when comfort disappears. Most men flinch. They complain. They say, "Why? Me?" The Stoic man asks, "What am I being called to build within myself right now?" Because pain isn't personal. It's instructional. Every frustration is a weight for your character to lift. Every betrayal is a forge for your discipline, but only if you stop reacting and start reflecting. Only if you stop seeing yourself as the victim and start seeing yourself as the architect of your inner strength. The world won't get easier. You'll just get better at walking through it. When someone disrespects you at work, when your partner snaps unexpectedly, when your plan crumbles 5 feet from the finish line, that's not the end. That's the gem of life. And in that gem you have 2 options. Let the moment shrink you, or let it sharpen you. Most men explode. A Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then says, "I will not waste this pain." Because ease doesn't build strength. Struggle does. Tension does. Discomfort does. That hard conversation, that silence, that unexpected delay, they're not obstacles. They are the path. But you only see that truth when you stop running from difficulty and start using it as fuel. The fire turns what it consumes into flame. Marcus Aurelius, that's not poetry. That's training. The insult meant to bruise you becomes your fuel. The delay that annoyed you becomes your discipline. The betrayal you feared becomes your clarity. It's easy to be calm when the world cooperates. But when someone yells in your face, when your ego is bruised, that's when your philosophy gets tested. That's when your values are no longer ideas, they're armor. And the man who holds himself steady under pressure, he's the man who can walk through anything. So stop waiting for the world to get easier. Get stronger. Get stiller. Get sharper. That's the path of the Stoic. 5. Feel everything but obey nothing. Life won't suddenly stop testing you. That email, delay, that cold glance across the room, that gridlocked traffic, they may seem like tiny disruptions, but they're invitations. Invitations to evolve, to become someone tougher, clearer, more composed. You don't need a perfect life to train for greatness. You just need a new lens, one that sees discomfort not as a problem, but as preparation. Strength isn't born in peace. It's forged in tension. It's shaped not on the mountaintop, but in the mess. So, next time you feel frustration creeping in, pause early. Don't flee from it. Name it. Own it. Ask yourself, what is this shaping in me? Will you let it harden you into bitterness? Or will you let it sharpen your composure, your discipline, your presence? Will you lash out or level up? Strength doesn't arrive all at once. It accumulates in the micro moments and how you respond to a snide comment, a slow driver, a passive-aggressive coworker, You're allowed to feel the sting, but you're not required to spiral. You're allowed to feel the burn, but you're capable of turning that burn into power. So next time life pushes back, don't treat it like an insult. Treat it like an opening. An invitation to show up not as the man you were yesterday, but as the man you're becoming. 6. Don't let feelings become your ruler. A man doesn't fall because he feels. He falls because he follows every feeling blindly. Anger rises and he lashes out. Fear whispers and he freezes. Shame surfaces and he hides. But what if you could feel all of it and obey none of it? This is the Stoic superpower. Awareness without attachment. You watch emotions arrive like clouds rolling across the sky, but you don't become the storm. Stoicism doesn't demand you become emotionless. That's a myth. It asks that you stay unruled, that you feel but don't follow. Emotions are messengers, not masters. Signals, not commands. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. You are the one who sees them come and says, "Not today." That's what separates the reactive from the composed. The ability to pause. The ability to hold the line between stimulus and response and stand in that space with power. Imagine someone mocks you in a crowded room. Your chest tightens. Your jaw locks. That's real. But instead of unleashing, you name it. This is anger. I feel it, but I will not let it move me. In that second, you become rare. You just broke the emotional chain that binds. Most men. You took the wheel, and most people never even realize it's possible. They live in the myth that if it's felt, it must be acted upon. But Stoic practice says, between the hit and the response, there's a sliver of space, and in that space you reclaim your manhood. Train that space. Grow it. Guard it. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing what's inside. It's about making sure your values speak louder than your impulses. When you give every emotion a microphone, your wisdom gets drowned. When you follow every flash of rage or wave of sadness, your clarity fades. But when you observe without judgment, you create distance. And in that distance, you find calm, power, and perspective. Before you react, pause. Before you speak, ask, what do I want to build with this feeling? If the answer is nothing good, then let it pass. If the answer is growth, then respond with intent, not reaction. Even 10 seconds of awareness can change everything. Because in those 10 seconds, you didn't lose yourself. You didn't snap. You didn't collapse. You didn't let temporary emotion wreck permanent values. You kept your balance, your dignity, your power. We don't need more men who bark back. We need more who stay still, assess, and move only when it truly matters. That's Stoic strength. Not loud, but legendary. 7. Gratitude under pressure is true power. Gratitude is easy. When everything flows. When the morning feels light. When people do what they said they'd do. When you're on schedule. But what happens when it all goes sideways? When the day starts with disappointment. When someone you trusted slips. When you're stuck in traffic watching the clock betray you. Most people spiral. They complain. They cast blame. And with every complaint, they give away more of their peace. But the Stoic doesn't spiral. He rises because he understands this core truth. Gratitude isn't a luxury of comfort. It's a discipline of clarity. To be grateful in ease is pleasant. To be grateful in struggle, that's mastery. Gratitude in hardship doesn't mean You deny the pain. It means you spot the lesson within it, the patience being sharpened, the pride being challenged, the ego being soft, where most people say, this moment is ruining my day. The Stoic says, this moment is revealing my character. Picture this. You're stuck in line. You're late. Your phone's buzzing. You want to sigh, snap, escape. Instead you pause. You breathe. You say to yourself, this too can train me. And just like that, the delay becomes a discipline. That's not delusion. That's refrain. That's strength through perspective. Most men avoid discomfort, like it's poison, but that avoidance makes them soft, weak, fragile. Real strength grows when life shoves you, and you lean in, not away. Seneca said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. That's not poetic fluff. That's instruction. That's steel being sharpened if you allow it. Gratitude in discomfort is not gratitude for injustice. It's gratitude within the opportunity to respond better than the man you used to be. This is the mindset shift. Stop asking for life to get easier. Start asking to get stronger. And every difficult moment becomes a direct answer to your request. Gratitude then becomes a strategy, a tool you wield to reframe your relationship with discomfort. It doesn't mean pretending to love the pain or celebrating every delay. It means choosing not to waste the lesson hidden inside it. Pain is inevitable. Waste is optional. So here's your daily practice. Each evening, recall one moment that irritated you, a long line, a rude comment, a minor failure. Don't dismiss it. Sit with it. Then ask, what did this moment invite me to build? Patience? Humility? Emotional precision? The power isn't in the event, it's in the opportunity it gave you to train. Write it down. Say it aloud. Let that question become your lens for tomorrow. Most people live stuck in loops of reaction, hoping for comfort. But the Stoic doesn't wait for ease. He sharpens his edge in difficulty. He doesn't run from hardship. He studies it, extracts wisdom from it, and walks away better. This isn't toxic positivity. It's clarity, emotional independence built from the ground up. And the more you plant gratitude where it hurts, the more your mind transforms. You stop racing against life. You begin embracing what it builds in you. Then comes your final weapon, time perspective. A fire feels overwhelming when your face is right against the flame. But take a few steps back, and it's just smoke rising from a small matchstick. Time gives you that distance. It shrinks problems not by erasing them, but by putting them in context. A bad meeting? Forgotten next week. A failed deal? A lesson next month. A heartbreak? A faded memory next year. But most men stay pressed up against every insult, every setback, every delay scorched by what could have passed. Time perspective is the scalpel that cuts through the illusion that now is everything. Ask, will this matter in a month, a year, 5? And suddenly the weight of the moment lifts. When you pause and remind yourself, this will pass, you sever the link between urgency and importance. You stop pouring your energy into battles that time would have won for you. That's not avoidance. That's energy management. That's emotional wisdom. Imagine a storm pounding outside. The rain is cold. The wind is harsh. But if someone told you it would end in 5 minutes, you wouldn't panic, you'd wait. That's what perspective gives you, the power to stay calm in chaos, knowing it's temporary. Seneca said it well. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And so when you zoom out, you shrink not just the moment, but the suffering attached to it. So next time something upsets you, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask instead, "How long will this matter?" Most of your stress won't make the highlight reel of your life. So stop treating it like it defines you. Take a breath. Zoom out. Let time sort the noise from the truth. Because in the end, every man wants strength, but not the kind that shouts. The kind that holds. The kind that remains grounded while the world spins wild around him. What you've heard today isn't a motivational speech. It's not a theory. It's practice. The daily art of emotional self-mastery. The discipline of pause. The power of response. The quiet habit of guarding your peace like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. When you master your reactions, when you stop expecting the world to soothe you, when you treat every irritation like a training ground, you evolve. You stop being a puppet of circumstance. You stop handing your peace to strangers. You reclaim clarity. The Stoics weren't born wise. They trained just like you can. Through observation. Through silence. Through the refusal to waste even a single emotion. You don't need ideal conditions to begin. You need presence. You need practice. You need to stop waiting for peace and start building it, decision by decision, one pause at a time. So tomorrow, when someone disrespects you, stay silent. When plans collapse, don't complain. When life tightens its grip, breathe. Let every test become part of your training. Soon the world will remain noisy, but you won't. Comment below. What moment recently tested your peace, and how did you respond? Let this be your space to reflect. Let this be your journal of growth. And never forget, true calm isn't the absence of storms. It's the refusal to hand your mind over to chaos. Hold that truth. Live it. And walk on quietly, but unshakably. Sometimes it only takes one shift in thought to drain the venom from an emotion, not by force but by framing. That quiet, calm idea, "This too shall pass," isn't weak, it's strategic. Because the greatest mistake modern men make is confusing urgency with importance. They believe every slight must be answered, every argument settled, every mistake repaired immediately. But urgency lies, and the Stoic knows it. He doesn't rush to fight battles that time itself would dissolve. He doesn't burn through energy chasing every conflict. Instead, he conserves strength. He selects his battles with precision. He engages with pain that matters. He lets the rest slip by like noise in the wind. That's not apathy. That's emotional discipline. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. Rain crashing down. Wind slapping your face. Your clothes soaked. Your teeth clenched. You're angry at the sky. But then someone whispers, "This will pass in 5 minutes." Would you panic? No, you'd wait. That's what perspective gives. You the ability to hold your ground, not because the storm disappears, but because you know it's temporary. Most suffering doesn't come from what happens. It comes from the belief that what's happening will never end. The wise man knows that few storms are eternal. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." he was right. The sarcastic comment, forgotten by next week. That failed project, a stepping stone by next year. That heartbreak, a scar softened by time. When you hold this truth close, you stop bleeding from paper cuts. You stop giving minor moments major power. So here's a simple rule. When something upsets you, don't ask, why me? Ask, how long will this matter? Then be honest. Most answers are shorter than your reaction. That's your cue to release. And no releasing isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Let the emotion come. Feel it fully, but don't build your identity around it. Let time carry it out of you like a tide, while you remain steady, grounded, unshaken. You don't owe every irritation an explanation. You don't need to defend your peace to people addicted to panic. You just need to remember, as your perspective expands, your peace deepens. Let time be your ally. Use it to sift through what deserves your energy and what doesn't. And soon you'll see that many of your problems weren't big. You just stood too close. So step back, breathe, zoom out. In 5 years, most of what you're stressed about today won't even matter. It won't show up in your journal. It won't make the highlight reel of your life. So why let passing clouds block your light? Let perspective reveal what's real. Let time return your clarity, and walk through this day with a mind anchored in distance, not swallowed by noise, because every man wants strength, not the kind that yells louder, but the kind that can't be shaken. The silent kind that holds steady under pressure. What you've heard today, this isn't philosophy class. It's real training. Quiet, unglamorous, daily discipline. It's the power to pause, to think, to choose. To guard your inner world like your life depends on it. Because in truth, it does. When you begin to master your reactions, to lower your expectations, and to treat every irritation like a test of your character, you begin to change. You stop being a slave to emotion. You stop chasing peace. You start building it. The Stoics weren't saints. They were men like you. Frustrated, triggered, worn thin by the world, but they trained. Through reflection, through stillness, through choosing. Response over reaction again and again. And so can you. You don't need a perfect day to start. You just need presence. You need practice. You need to stop waiting for life to calm down and start getting strong. So try this today. When someone disrespects you, don't flinch. When your plans collapse, don't collapse with them. When discomfort shows up, greet it like an old rival and smile. Let every challenge become your training ground. And slowly the world will remain loud, but you'll remain still. If this resonated with you, don't just scroll away. Subscribe to StoicCraft, where we sharpen the mind, strengthen the heart, and train calm like a warrior trains his blade. Drop a comment. What moment recently tested your inner peace, and how did you respond? Let this space be your daily training ground. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men who are steady, focused, and unshakable. So if that's the man you're becoming, join us. Be still, be sharp, be stoic.